Hi, another part of our Smartdoll set. So here she is again, Brie. Now, I think I've decided to actually do the hat and the bag for the video because it's quite a quick hat and the pattern is the same. So as soon as you get going with the pattern, you'll not find it difficult at all. Now, I've kept them quite simple because then obviously if you want to sort of add things, you could add pom-poms, you could add beads, you could add fringes, you could have different straps. There's so many things you can do with this pattern. It will be going up on my website. I will try and link it about the same time. Doesn't always work, but if you are actually already signed up on my website, I'll send an email out to say that the pattern's out there, because I think I'm going to put it as one pattern for the whole lot. So I think that might be the easiest way, but don't forget UK terms, and you will need that conversion chart if that is not something you're familiar with, because it can be confusing. I know that from when I first started crocheting, so it is something you do need to keep an eye out for. It's a nice double knit yarn. I'll show you the yarn I've used as well, like I did in the last video. And yes, we're going to get on and do our Smartdoll hat and bag and see what you think. Please pop some comments in there as well if you enjoy doing my patterns. If you have any issues with any of the patterns, you know, we all go wrong sometimes, and I always hold my hands up if there is something wrong. Constructive criticism is great, as long as it is constructive, that is. But yeah, let me know if you've made it. I know some of you tag me when you've made them, and I love some of the yarns some of you use as well. It's great to see them in different colours and things like that. So I will see you top down to get on with the hat and the bag for your Smartdoll or similar size doll. It's not just for Smartdoll. I will see you in a second. Hi, we're back with the hat that matches the poncho. I think you call it a poncho, a shawl, a cape. I'm not quite sure what you call it. It comes over the head, that's why and it's a solid object, that's why I counted it as a poncho. But we're going to be doing the hat, which is nice and simple to do. And we're also going to be looking at this little bag, which I mentioned before. It's got some of my hair there, or actually I don't know if it's my hair or her hair, to be honest. It looks like it could do with a brush. She's been outside to have some photos done, so that's probably why. And it does actually have little buttons, so you can open it and use it as a proper little bag. So we're going to start with the hat, I think, and then we should have time to pop the bag on at the end. So we're going to move our Brie out of the way. Where am I going to pop you? Let's put you behind me. That might be the best option. In fact, I could do with pinching our hat so we can have a look at it as we go. So it's like a little beanie. It would look quite nice with a pom-pom on. I had considered, do I do a pom-pom or not? But I didn't. So let's get back to the product we are using. As I mentioned, I'm using the same yarn as last time. So in case you've not seen the poncho one and you just wanted to make a hat, this is what I used. It's King Cole Island Beaches. It's a double knit yarn. UK terms, remember. Same for the hook. It's a 3mm hook, so you do need to check that, because I think for the US hook it's like in between, but I think it works out like 0.25mm either side, so it's not going to make a huge difference, so don't over panic about that. But these are UK terms, so you may need a conversion chart, etc, etc, so don't forget that. And then move my little scissors over to one side and let's get on with this hat. It's very simple. We've just got some basic stitches. We have double crochets, we have half trebles, and we have trebles. Let's move them over there a little bit. Right, we're going to start with our slip knot. Starts a little bit amigurumi-ish actually. So we need 2 chain. Because I don't do the magic ring, I do 2 chain. And then into that first chain, 6 double crochet. So yarn through. The first one's a tricky one. Go on, get in. No, it's jammed. I'm going to start again, because if you do that, I find if the yarn's caught or something, it's best to just do it again, and then you'll not catch it next time. So onto the hook. Don't make that too tight. I think that's the other issue there. So we have 1 and we have 2. Now into the first one with 6 double crochets, UK double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So that's our first round. Our next round we're going to do 2 half trebles. Now I'm not going to sort of start on this. There's no need to. We can just go straight into it with half trebles. Remember, half trebles, yarn is round into the stitch, pull it through. We have 3 on the hook, then we pull it through all 3. That's a half treble. Another half treble in that same stitch. So it goes through all 3, yeah? So that's our first of 2. So of 2 of each one, should I say, we end up with 12 stitches at the end of this one. So into the next stitch we also do 2 half trebles, so it's a 1 and a 2. So that was our second one. Into the next one, this is our third set, 2 half trebles, 2 half trebles into the fourth one, 2 half trebles into the fifth one, and our final 2 half trebles into number 6. So as I say, that should give us 12 stitches. I'm just tightening that up there. Let me move that yarn over there because it's going to irritate me otherwise. And now we're going to do the same again, 2 half trebles into each to give us 24 stitches. So are we ready? So 2 half trebles into number 1, 2 half trebles into number 2, into number 3, number 4, so it's 2 in each, remember, number 5, number 6, number 7, so over halfway now, 2 in number 8, so it's 2 in every one, 2 in number 9, in number 10, put the yarn out, number 10 and number 11, and our last one, number 12. So we now have 24 stitches. So you can see how we're getting larger. It's quite flat at this point. We're now going to do the same again, 2 in every single one of those 24. If you want to pop a stitch marker in, it can make it easier, but I am going to count the 24 stitches. I know that sounds a little bit tedious, but I am going to count it. And it will go sort of wibbly wobbly. Don't worry about that. You'll see mine do it. It will be fine. It settles down after that round. So I'm going to do 2 in every one of those 24. So I'm just going to count like 1 to 24. Are we ready? So this is number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, 9, number 10, 11, 12. So we're halfway now. Can you see it's starting to sort of go up and down? So don't worry about that. It doesn't matter that it doesn't stay flat. So that was 12. This is 13. So we're over halfway now. 13, 14, oh, 15, nearly caught the other side, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, we're almost there, just 5 more to go. That's 20, 21, 22, 23, and our last one, 24. So you can see it has really gone weird and you're thinking, oh, it's not going to work now. It will. Don't panic about it. In fact, I am actually going to grab a stitch marker. I think that's my wrong tin for my stitch marker. This is the right one. These used to have Turkish Delight in them. Absolutely love what I call real Turkish Delight. Don't like the chocolate stuff, but proper Turkish Delight. So I have 300 probably stitch markers in here. That's a slight exaggeration, isn't it? So what should we use? We'll use the little acorns. I've got to go acorn collecting because I want to make some decorations. And if I don't be quick, the squirrels will have eaten them all. So I do need to get out there. So I'm going to use this stitch marker because it's easier than me counting 48 stitches, which I'm sure you don't want to hear me doing. So our next round is just 1 half treble in every single one of them stitches, which should be 48 stitches. Okay, so 1 half treble in each one, just one this time, and you'll see how it starts to flatten out. So as I say, you don't need to worry. Sometimes you don't want that sort of wobbliness, but certain things you get away with it, because I wanted the 48 stitches, that's why I did it. So just 1 half treble into every single one of the stitches, and then we've done the top of the hat. We've then just got a few rounds of the pattern. Now, if you've already done the poncho, you'll know this pattern is very simple. In fact, this is easier than the poncho because there's less increase. Well, there's no increases, to be honest. We've done all our increase in here. So it's just sort of straight rounds. So it's nice and simple. You see how it's starting to flatten a little bit. So we're about halfway. Yep, we're over halfway now. Just keep checking where my little stitch marker is. If you don't have a stitch marker handy, or is something that you use, a piece of sort of different colour yarn is great just to push through, to just give you an idea. After we've done this round, you really don't need a stitch marker. And if you were sat quiet on your own, I'd recommend you just count your 48. I just thought it were better than me counting 48 stitches at you. As much as this is a Smartdoll pattern for my Smartdoll, it will fit most 1/3 scale BJD type dolls as well. So you've got quite a good fit there. And just, oh, I was going to say one more, but it's not because I dropped that one. 2 more. There we go. So I'm going to say that is my round. It is curling up a little bit. Again, don't worry about that. It soon settles down when you do the pattern. So I'm going to take my stitch marker out now because it's just probably going to become a hindrance rather than a help. And we're going to start with the pattern. But before we start with the pattern, I want to do just a slip stitch in there because I want to sort of start the pattern fresh. So you've got your shape. So we have the top, which is there, and now we're going to start on this pattern. And as you can see, we have 1 2 3 4 5 rounds. That is it. You can make it slightly longer on the doll if you want. Again, if it's not a smart doll, it might need it shorter, it might need it longer. All dolls are slightly different where that's concerned. Oh, I'm throwing it away. So it might be a good idea to keep checking on your doll. Okay, so here we go. We're going to do 3 chain, 1 2 and 3. That is a treble. You're going to miss 2 stitches, 1 2, and into the third one we're going to do our 5 treble. And again, if you've done the poncho, you go, oh yeah, we've done that before. So that's 2 3 4 and 5. We're going to miss 2, 1 2, and then we're going to do a treble in the third. So we're alternating an individual treble and then the 5 trebles in one. So we miss 2, 1 2, into the next one, 5 trebles, 1 2 3 4 and 5, miss 2 and 1 treble, miss 2, 5 treble, 1 2 3 4 and 5. Wool's catching a little bit. Miss 2, 1 treble. It's got a slight fluff to it, so it does catch every now and again. It's a lovely yarn, but there's occasionally get this catch on it. 2 3 4 and 5. You see the little pattern coming now. We're going to miss 2, 1 2, and just 1 treble. Again, miss 2, 1 2. Oh, I'm trying to do a double wrap there. 1 2, 5 trebles. 1 2 3 4 and 5, miss 2, 1, 2, 1 treble, miss 2 and 5, miss 2 and 1, miss 2 and 5. Oh, or not 5, or drop it maybe even. Right, miss 2 and 5. It's catching a little bit more than it did for the poncho for some reason. It's just got to be the type of yarn it is. As I said, there is even though it's an acrylic, oh, I don't want to do this stitch, does it? Even though it's an acrylic, it's got this like this fluff that catches, which you usually get in a wool. 2, 3, 4 and 5. We're nearly round. We miss 2, we do a single double crochet. I've got to stop saying single double crochet. No, we did an individual treble even. I've got to be careful because obviously in the US single is a stitch. Over here it's not. When I say single I just mean one stitch, so I have to be careful what I say. So we've got 1, 2 and our last set of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And then slip stitch into the top of that 3 chain. So that is our first round. So it does look a bit sort of flowerish at this point, doesn't it? So you can see we have the shape. Now we're just going to repeat that a further 4 times. So we start, you can see we've slip stitched into the top of that one. So we're going to start with the 3 chain again, 1, 2 and 3. Now we have 5 stitches here. Again, if you've done the poncho you'll know, but what we're going to do is in the top of number 3 we do our 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now we're just going to jump to the top of that individual one and 1 treble above it. Then we're going to find number 3 on the 5 and do 5 trebles. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. On top of the individual one, I'm going to say individual now, we're going to do another treble. And then in the top of the 3rd one, we're going to do our 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Or not, do 5 again. There we go, number 5 should I say. Right, top of the treble, we do 1 treble. In number 3, we do 5 trebles. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And 1 treble in the treble. And 5 trebles in number 3 treble. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 in the treble. So we're over halfway round for this 2nd round. And in number, oh, well, not in number 3 even, you know, rounded top of that number 3 treble, we do our 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. 1 in the top of the 1 treble. And 5 in top of the 5 treble. Well, it's in top of the 3rd one actually, isn't it? But it's literally the centre of our 5 trebles there. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And 1 in the top of the single individual. I nearly did it again. And the individual one. And we have 5 in the top of that 3rd one. Then we'll have a little look at what we've got there. 2, 3, 4 and 5. slip stitch into the top of that 3 chain. So you can see now we're getting a hat shape. So you can see where we've got the hat shape there. So we've done our 2 rounds now. There is 3 more rounds to do. I'm actually only going to do 1 more round with you, because then we're going to actually move on to our bag. But this again comes down to checking on your doll at the length you want, in case your tension is slightly different. So I'm going to do 1 more round to make sure you're happy with the pattern, and then you would continue until you get the perfect fit for your particular doll. So here we go. This is, oh, my yarn is split there, so I need to take that out again. So don't carry on if you've got split yarn, always take it out. Even it's only a case of doing 1 extra stitch, isn't it, if you've had to take it out. I must have just pulled just partial yarn through rather than full. That's better. So we start with 3 chain. Each round starts with 3 chain, and you can see they're on top of each other, so you can see where the round is. And then in number 3 of the 5, you will do the 5, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And then in top of the next one, because again you can see how they're creating a line, we're going to do 1 treble into the top of that 1 treble. Then we find number 3 of the 5, so it's the center point, and we do our 5. That's 3, 4 and 5. Then we have an individual treble, which we do 1 treble over, and then we'll do our 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then 1 on the 1, and 5 on number 3 of the 5. 2, 3, 4 and 5. Oh, my colour's changed, so it's like sort of lilac-y colour. That's nice. So 1 over the 1 and 5 over the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. 1 over the 1, 1 over the 5. And we, oh, although I was going to say we're nearly there, we've got a little bit more to do yet. Almost there, we're almost there. So 5 over the 5, remember going into that 3rd one, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 1 over the 1, and 5 over the 5. This is the last set of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and slip stitch join in the top of that 3 chain, and you would set off again with our 3 chain and carry on with the pattern. Now I'm just going to grab Bree back in, and you can sort of see, well, we'll show you how this one's starting to go. Can you see it's starting to sort of fit? So you've now got to decide how many more you want to do of those rounds. I did in total, as I mentioned, 5, which I think is about right for my Brie, but again, your doll head could be slightly different. Some are sort of deeper here, so you might want to alter it. It's entirely up to you sort of what you do with the fit there. But I would, like I say, for this one and the pattern that I'm going to write up, there would be 5 rounds. There will be a pattern. I know I mentioned it in the poncho one, but as I said, some of you might not do the poncho, some might just want to do the hat. It will be a set of 3 on the pattern. I'm going to do poncho, hat and bag as one pattern. So I hope that's going to be okay for everybody. We're going to have a look at the bag next, and we're going to be doing it on the same video. I'm pretty sure that's how I've done it. I do need to check what I've done with my intros, but this is the bag that we're going to be doing. So I will see you in a second with the bag. Well, here we are with part 2 of this video with the bag. Now, it is a functional little bag, so it does open. Oh, we do have little sort of pockets there. These are actually just 5 chain picot even, which I did mention in the poncho one, if you've seen that. So they make little buttonholes. It's a great way of doing them, and it just sort of finishes it off as well. Now, these buttons I've used, I do have a pot of these. I think I bought like a job lot of them. And I wanted to just sort of point out the measurement, because some people sort of ask me sort of how big is it. So if we look, I would say what? It's about a 9 millimeter, just under 10 millimeter button. But again, that will depend on sort of how your chain goes for your picot, but that is what I've used on this one. It is nice and simple. I wish I'd done the strap for mine a little bit longer. This is something you could adjust if you wanted to do just like a handbag or just over the shoulder, but I wanted to go across the body. So that is why I've done a slightly longer strap, which I will do for this one, but I didn't do for the first one. My scissors, which I don't need, I'll pop them over to one side. Double knit yarn like we've just used in the hat, and a 3 millimeter hook still. That is the size I have used for it. So we're going to get on with this bag. It is nice and simple, and again, if you've already made the hat and you've made the poncho, this will be really, really easy. So let's move the yarn over there. It starts to get, as it starts to get sort of less wool on it, it gets a bit sort of floppy, so it becomes a bit of a pain, to be honest. Right, we're going to start with 18 chains. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So we've got 18 chains there. But then I'm going to add on one more because it's our turning chain. Ta-da! But we want 18 stitches. I am now going to do a double crochet row. Remember UK terms, so it's just 1 double crochet into each of those chains. Hopefully we're going to get 18 there, as long as I've counted right. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's just flatten that out. It gets a bit curly, doesn't it? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Doesn't want to stay flat, does it? 14, 15, 16, 17, yay, and 18. I counted right. So just tighten that little bit up there. So we have 18 stitches there across. Now I'm going to do 1 chain, and I'm going to turn my work and do 1 double crochet again all the way across. So you need to make sure you get your 18 stitches, because that is sort of the quantity I've chosen that fit the pattern. So you do need it at that point. So as soon as you've done this double crochet row, you're going to be starting on the pattern. Now this is all in rows, whereas both the poncho and the hat we went on the round a little bit, but you can do the pattern in either direction, but we're going to be doing it in rows. It will stay flatter after a little while. It's just deciding to roll up. I'm just looking, the light has changed a little bit from when I did the hat. I had a little break in between because I'd not had my breakfast, so I went and had some toast, and then I've come back and now the lights changed. So you're going to see, hopefully it should still look okay. Right, so that's our 2 rows of 1 double crochet in each stitch. Now for this one, I'm going to do 3 chain before I turn. 1, 2, 3, because I like to do my turning chains before I actually turn. So then I've turned. Now, like with the hat, we're going to miss 2 stitches. Now this 3 chain counts as a stitch, yeah, so that does actually count as a stitch. So I'm going to miss 1 and I'm going to miss 2, and in number 3 I'm going to do my 5 trebles. Oh, sun's coming back out now. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Again, like with the hat, we're going to miss 2 stitches, 1, 2, and into the third you're going to do a treble. We're going to miss 2, 1, 2, into the third we're going to do 5 trebles. And stop curling, it really doesn't want to not curl, does it? So it's 2, 3, 4 and 5. Miss 2, 1, 2, just 1 treble into that third. Miss 1, 2 and 5. Oh, or not. 5 trebles again. Let me just double check. That's where I'm going. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And into our very last stitch, which is a little bit difficult to see because it's where we did that turn there. I just want 1 treble. Okay. So I did only have 1 space there, but it doesn't really matter for that. Now that is essentially our pattern. We're going to do that. I'm just counting how many rows. I'm sorry, I'm just checking my measurements. I have done it the same, haven't I? Yeah, 1, 2 and 3. That's what we want. So I'm going to try and open this up to sort of show you where we are. It's a little bit tricky to see. This is our 2 these. Right, so it goes that way, yeah? So you can see which way up. So we've done that first row. So then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you've got 11. I double check that because what I've written down looks like an 11, but sometimes I go like 1, 1 and I'm like, can't be only 2. It is actually 11. So I'm just going to put a circle around that so I know for when I come to writing the pattern up. So now we're going to be repeating that pattern. So we start 3 chain, 1, 2, 3 counts as a stitch, turn. In number 3 we're going to do 5 trebles. So that's 2, 3, 4 and 5. In the top of our treble we do a treble. In number 3 of our 5 we do 5 trebles. So it's exactly the same pattern as you were doing before. So if you've already done the hat, you know, this is easy, isn't it? And because there's not actually that many sort of pattern rows or anything to it, it's easy. I did have 5, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 I did. And in the top of our treble, and in number 3 of our 5 we do our 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And in the top of our 3 chain we do a treble. So can you see what we've got there? So I'm going to mark these down now. So that was 2. It's not an 11. It is a 2 I've written. So 1, 2, 3 and turn. And we're just going to keep repeating this over. So into our third we do our 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Into the top of our treble we do a treble, and number 3 of our 5 we do 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then top of our treble we do a treble. Oh, the colours change now. Into number 3 we do a 5. 1, 2, oh, or not, 3, 4 and 5. In the top of our 3 chain we are going to do a treble. So you can see how it works out. We get the equivalent to a treble or a 3 chain at each end, and that is what you need. So that is number 3. So 3 chain, 1, 2, 3 and turn. Into our shell there we do our 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So you can see how quickly this is coming together. In our treble, a treble, and in our 5, a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. I know this yarn's going to end up on the floor at some point. And in our treble, a treble, and in our 5, a 5. 1, 2, 3, even, 4 and 5, and into the top of that 3 chain, a treble. So that is actually 4. I think this would make, if you've got the patience to do a really long one, it would make a fabulous scarf as well. But I don't think you want to watch me doing that somehow. But it's an idea for yourself. If you get the pattern going, you could just keep going round as keep going in a long line as a scarf. So in our 5, we have 5. A 5 in our treble, a treble. Oh, we've got a nice grey now. And again, a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Just trying to work out if there's a shadow. There's a shadow there, and I don't know what's causing that shadow. That's very annoying. Is it my cup? I've got a cup there. It was my cup. That was annoying me. Oh, you can see with my blinds now. So I've got these blinds which are great, but then this happens as the sun comes out. So last time I paused it to try and move my blind fell down. Oh look, you see the sun's gone in now, so it's not so bad. So we'll carry on. If the sun gets really extreme, I'm going to have to sort of try and alter it a little bit. So that was a normal treble. We have our 5 treble. 1, 2, that's 2, should I say that's 3, 4 and 5. I thought blinds would be better than curtains, but I forgot about the fact that it's, well, when they close, they don't fully close. That's the problem. Oh, there we go. We've got our lines back again. I suppose we're crocheting over this side, so it's not too bad. So I'll leave it for now. 1, 2, 3, turn down the top of the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. I'm going to have to work something out with them though, because like I said, that's going to irritate me after a while. So we have a treble, we have a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and a treble. Not that the others aren't trebles, but that's a treble on its own. That's what I meant there. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and there, if I can get in at the top of the 3 chain with a treble. So now we've got a 6, so we're sort of just over halfway, aren't we? So you can see how we've got the shape of the bag coming. So, and it's going to fold over. That's why it's done in one sort of long piece. That's why it feels like it takes longer. So we have 3 chain and we turn. And this is number 7. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 into our treble, into our 5. This is quite easy to count the rows as well with this. 2, 3, 4 and 5 into our treble and into our 5. And 5, and remember the top of that 3 chain, it can be tricky to get sometimes. Just get in there best you can on that one. Just try and keep those sides neat, that's all, when you're doing it. So that was 7. Round it round. We're not doing rounds, we're doing rows, aren't we? 1, 2 and 3 and turn. 5 in our 5. 1, 2, I'd lost it then. 3, 4 and 5. Our pussycat is back. I can hear her tinkling. Yes, you. Treble in our treble. And 5 in our 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Our 1 treble. And our 5. How quick it grows. Like I say, if you could patience to do a scarf, it would make a really nice scarf. I had thought about it. I might do some to sell rather than do as a pattern, because I don't really need to do it as a pattern, do I? Because as long as you've done this, you can do it. Top of our 3 chain, best you can. Make sure you get a nice tight stitch. Don't get like a partial stitch there, otherwise it can sort of make it look really loose. So we've got 8. 3 more to go. 8, yeah, that's right, I can count. I can count, I promise. So 1, 2 and 3. Perhaps I can only count to 3. There we go, because I count 3 so often. But I'm counting 5 now, though, aren't I? That's 2, 3, 4 and 5 in the treble, in the 5. I love how it does stripe, this yarn. It does it slightly different if you're a knitter. You do get a different effect as a knitter, but I do think it still comes out as a nice stripe. 3, 4 and 5. And 1 treble. And 5 trebles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I wish that sun would decide whether it's in or whether it's out. I know it's the time of the year, you can't do much about it, but it's finding the right position to film is almost impossible when it's like that. So that was 9. We're on 10. 3 chain turn. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and treble, and 5, 3, 4 and 5. We have a treble, and we have a 5. 1, 2, 3. Oh, where have you gone? Nearly lost you. 3. That's 4 actually. And 5. And top of the 3 chain. I'll mark that off. That was 10. So we've only got 1 more row like this. There is 1 more, but that's the buttonholey bit. That's why I have not counted that in. So 1, 2, 3, turn. And this is the last row that's exactly the same as all the others. So we've got a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Top of the treble. And 5. 1, 2, 3. Move it over there a bit onto the sun. 4 and 5. And 1. And 5. 1, 2. Split it. Take it out if you split it. It's only 1 stitch. All right. 2, 3, 4 and 5. And where are we going? Where are we going? In there we're going. So that is our 10 rows. We have 1 more, and that is the one that's going to create these. So it's almost the same, it's just that we've got to add these little picots on. So we start with 3 chain, 1, 2, 3, because we still need those edges, and we still need our patterns in here, but we're only going to do 3 trebles. 1, 2 and 3. Now this is where we're going to do our 5 chain. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now I mentioned in the previous, well, the poncho video, I'm just looking where my needles are, where most people go for their picots, and most people, I'm taking the hook out, traditionally you'll go into the first of the 5 that you've just created. I like to go in here because it makes it solider, especially as we're making a little buttonhole. Up to you, however you've done it in the past, that is what you're to do. So in you go. I'm going to do, if I don't twist it, that is, don't twist it, right, a slip stitch. Yeah, and then we're going to continue with 2 more trebles in that space, and I'll show you why in a second. I'm saying 5, I'm sure I did 5, but that seems a bit small. So if you give it a little stretch, yeah, where you've made it, you can see we get a little hole. So that is our button hole. If your buttons are going to be bigger, you need to check your buttons will push through that, okay? So if you need a bigger one, do 6 or do 7. That is entirely up to you for that increase. So we are now going to just the treble, so just the normal treble. We'll go through that again. So we need 3, 1, 2 and 3. I'm doing 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. I'm slip stitching down here, so it's just a slip stitch, and then I'll continue with 2 more trebles. I'm just going to do the treble over the treble, and then our last one for a buttonhole, we have 1, 2 and 3, 5 chain, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, slip stitch down below, and carry on with our final 2 trebles into that space, and just treble into that last chain. And that is it for the main part of our bag, because you can see we get these little lumps here. So I'm just going to cut that off. Now I would recommend you sew your ends in now before you continue on the next bit, but as you guessed it, I'm not going to, because I need to show you the next bit. And I say, I don't know what to do about those curtains. I wonder if they would fasten. I'm just really nervous about pulling them up, because like I said, they collapsed last time, so I'm just going to pause a sec. Right, I'm back. I think I've sorted it. I think it's the angle that I've been doing it. You know, when you got like a little twisty thing, and I think I've been doing it on the wrong angle. So basically, I would recommend you get rid of those ends first. But just for showing you, I'm not going to. So I've turned it over that way, and decide which way I want my bag. So it's there, and depending on how much of a fold you want. If you look, I've left 2 here, and I've said that is where I'm going to crochet up the side here. I'm going to do my strap and then crochet back down the other side. I say ideally get rid of your ends, because it does make life easier, but I don't like to make life easier for myself. So I have my yarn around my hands. I've decided, in fact, I'm just going to use this needle just to sort of hold it in place. So I want that to stay there. You could use a clip or whatever you want to use for that. So I need to make sure it's equal. So if you look, the holes should line up. So I've got 1, 2, 3, and then obviously we have one that lines up. It doesn't line up with the hole, but it should line up with these 2 double crochet rounds. So that would sit there. So I'm going in here. Now your first one, you have to make sure you get it nice and tight. I'm pulling my yarn through, and I've done a stitch, but then I'm going to go in with 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. Now yes, they are trebles up the side, but I'm only going to do 2 double crochets, so in each one. So 1, 2 in the holes, yeah, 1, 2. Now as I mentioned, this top one is actually, there's one there, let me get that one first. So double check, make sure you're lined up properly. 1, 2. But as I'm saying, the top one is actually the actual double crochets, so we have to go into those. So 1. You could just sew the sides up if you wanted to, totally up to you, and then you could put a different type of strap on. So I'm now going to do 110 chains. Well, I don't think I am going to do that for you guys, because I think that would be somewhat tedious for you to do. So the strap this part is entirely up to you. You work out where you want it on your doll. Do you want it over the shoulder? Do you want it a crossbody? It does stretch a bit as well, remember, so don't worry about that. So I don't know, so let's see how many I do. I might do the 100. 1, 2, oh, I'll drop it, that's not good. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. It doesn't actually take that long. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. See, 30. We're already at 30. How about 110? That's going to take a while. 30, 31, 32. Ah, look, my yarn has split. Take it out. It's stuck completely. There we go. That's why I've said, can you see sometimes there's a little bit of fluff sticks out and that catches? You've got to be really careful with that. So we'll say 30. Doesn't really matter. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, halfway, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69. I'm going to stop at 70. You do need more. I'm going to undo this anyway to redo it because this is one that is going to be going up on my website. So I do need to sort of make sure I do it properly after the fact. So I'm going to go back down this side. I just want to show you sort of how you can do your chain to whatever length you want. So the first one is in our double crochets and through the other side. So we have 1 and we have 2. Then we should have our holes lined up just for 2 double crochets in each one. I know it seems weird when it's a treble, but if you try putting 3 in, it will actually sort of stretch your work. So it is only 2 in each one of those trebles. Took me ages to realize that. So we have 1 and 2. And let me double check. Yep, so we're approximately the same either side. What have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So you can sort of line it up how you want. You could have made this bag bigger. You could do all sorts of different things. But that is where I am going to leave mine. I'm only going to do that really loose because I need to undo it so I can do a longer strap. So I can take my needle out now. But I just wanted to show you our buttons. Now, 2 choices here. You can actually turn it inside out if you want and you get more of a rounded bag and take it over. Or you can leave it with the crochet edges. Again, personal preference. Now, as far as this over bit goes, we need to check our buttons. So I'm going to pinch one of these buttons for now and let's have a look. Just make sure, yep, it goes over the button quite nicely. So it goes over about that 9mm button if you do the 5 there. So entirely up to you how you finish it. We have our strap there. I would definitely make it longer because I like an over the sort of body one. That would make a great one sort of just over the shoulder. This bag would also work with lots of different dolls. It is Smartdoll, or you could say 1/3, but it would actually work with your American Girls or your Our Generations, any doll, to be honest, depending on, because some will have small bags, some will have big bags. So it doesn't really matter. So it can do all sorts of dolls. So that is our bag to go along with our hat. And let me pinch this little girl back over here. So she has her bag. So this is the set I'm keeping for myself. I'm going to be doing a set to sell. And if you guys do sell them, I don't mind as long as you refer back to the pattern being mine. I think, you know, just as a courtesy thing, sort of say it is my pattern, or you've made this item that you're selling and the pattern is by. I don't mind because I do sell the physical items on my websites as well. So it's just a bit of courtesy there. And please, if you do it, tag me, show me. I love to see it when people have made my items. So you know what to do. Like, subscribe, share, etc. Click on the notification bell for any other videos. And of course, I love to see the comments that go below, and I do try and desperately answer everybody. But if you have something you're not sure about, again, give me a little message. I'm on Instagram and I'm on Facebook as well, so I'll pop the links in for that. And I'll see you very soon. And I'm not quite sure, I think it's a Halloween crochet tutorial next. I've got Halloween or Christmas, but I need to get Halloween done, I suppose, because it's not far away, is it? So I will see you all very soon with another video. So bye bye for now.